HOA tried evicting me from my ranch, not knowing I own their office building downtown. The sun beat down on my ranch, the only home I'd ever known. Dust clung to my boots as I stared at the letter in my hand, its crisp HOA letterhead mocking me. The Karen of the local homeowners association, Patricia Hensley, had been hounding me for months. My ranch, they claimed, was an eyesore, a blight on their vision of a manicured community creeping into the rural outskirts. They demanded I sell or face eviction. I crumpled the paper, my knuckles white. This land was my father's, his father's before him. No one was taking it. Patricia arrived that afternoon, her heels clicking on the gravel like a predator's claws. She wasn't alone. 2 men in suits, probably lawyers, flanked her. Her voice dripped with condescension. "Mr. Callahan, you've ignored our notices. This property violates HOA standards. Vacate by week's end, or we'll force you out." Her smirk was a blade, slicing through the air. I gripped the shovel I'd been using to fix a fence, my pulse hammering. "This is my home, Patricia. You don't get to decide what's mine." The men stepped forward, one pulling out a clipboard. "We have legal authority," he said, voice flat. "Non-compliance means court." I laughed, bitter and low. They didn't know. They couldn't. My ace was buried deep, a secret I'd held for years. I owned half the buildings in town, including the shiny office where their HOA held court. I'd bought it quietly a decade ago, a safeguard against vultures like them. But I wasn't ready to play that card, not yet. The standoff grew hotter. Neighbors started gathering, drawn by the spectacle. Old Mrs. Delaney, who'd lived here longer than me, leaned on her cane, muttering about city folk ruining everything. Then came the twist. Tommy, my estranged brother, pulled up in his beat-up truck. I hadn't seen him in years, not since he'd left for the city, chasing dreams that never panned out. His eyes flicked between me and Patricia, confusion clouding his face. "What's going on, Jake?" he asked, voice rough. "HOA's trying to steal the ranch," I said, not breaking eye contact with Patricia. Tommy's face darkened. He'd grown up here too, knew what this land meant. "They can't do that," he said, stepping beside me. Patricia's smirk faltered. She hadn't expected a united front. The crowd murmured, emboldened. Mrs. Delaney raised her voice, accusing the HOA of bullying. The air crackled with tension, like a storm about to break. Patricia doubled down. "This isn't personal, Mr. Callahan. This progress. Your land's worth more as condos." Her words were venom, and I felt the crowd's anger shift, a tide turning. Tommy whispered, "You still got the deed to their building?" My heart skipped. He knew. Years ago, I'd told him in a drunken moment. I nodded, barely perceptible. "Let's end this," he said. I faced Patricia, voice steady. "You think you hold power? Check the property records for your office downtown. 124 Main Street. My name's on the deed." Her face froze, the smugness draining like water from a cracked bucket. The lawyers exchanged glances, one fumbling for his phone. "You're lying," Patricia snapped, but her voice wavered. The crowd leaned in, sensing blood. I pulled out my phone, showing the digital deed. "Evict me, and I'll evict you. Your choice." The silence was deafening. Patricia's eyes darted, calculating. Then, a new voice cut through Sheriff Daniels, pushing through the crowd. "Jake, Patricia, let's calm this down." He'd been my friend since high school, but his tone was neutral, professional. "HOA's got no jurisdiction here," he said. "This land's outside city limits." The crowd erupted in cheers, but Patricia's face twisted in fury. She stormed off, her lackeys trailing behind. I thought I'd won, but victory was fleeting. That night, Tommy sat me down, his eyes heavy. "I sold my share of the ranch," he confessed. "Years ago, to a developer. They're working with the HOA." My heart sank, the betrayal a knife in my gut. The ranch was still mine, but the fight wasn't over. The developers would come, and the HOA would keep pushing. My home, my legacy hung by a thread. In the days that followed, I learned the HOA had been buying up nearby properties, piece by piece, to force their vision of progress. My ownership of their office gave me leverage, but not enough. The developers had deeper pockets, and Patricia's vendetta was personal now. I stood on my porch, staring at the horizon, the weight of it all crushing me. The land was more than dirt, it was my family, my history. But history doesn't pay legal fees. The twist of Tommy's betrayal lingered, a bitter pill. He'd come back to help, or so I thought, but his guilt had driven him, not loyalty. Mrs. Delaney brought me coffee the next morning, her eyes kind but tired. "Fight for it, Jake," she said. "This land's worth more than their money." Her words were a spark, but the fire in me flickered. The HOA's greed, the developer's schemes, Tommy's betrayal feed taken their toll. In the end, I kept the ranch, but at a cost. Legal battles drained my savings, and the community fractured. Some neighbors stood by me, others sold out, lured by cash. The HOA relocated, but their shadow lingered. I walk the ranch now, shovel in hand, knowing the fight's not over. The land's still mine, but for how long? The bitter truth is power and greed don't sleep. They just wait. What would you do when greed threatens home? Share your thoughts on justice and community.